that's the thing. Now I guess we could try to you could take the plugs out, Chuck. One thing you could try, and then just go get some Pro-Tune or something and spray in all the cylinders and try to get all that carbon buildup out.
Well, that's what the Lucas is gonna do. If I just,
I think I would make sure too, like that all of them are like, I think they're all firing. I'm just not sure if one of them is not squirting enough fuel or any fuel at all.
It just needs to be run. You know, you got to think it's been running on ethanol fuel, number one.
Yeah, I understand that.
And it's carboned up bad.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
So
the
you
carbon.
got to run it, man. You got to get all that cleaned out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like some kind of Pro-Tune would get the carbon buildup out. But you know, it's that carbon buildup on the injector, fuel injector, and you know, the only way to really kind of do that is pull the injectors.
I guess all I'm saying is I haven't given it the opportunity for the Lucas to work.
Well, anyway.
You know, so what I'm saying is I got fresh fuel in now. I had like 25-30 gallons of bad fuel.
Alright.
So I got all of that out. Now I got good fuel in, and I put Lucas in.
Yeah.
So
alright, we're gonna go a little bit down the rabbit hole here. Alright, you guys, like on this Optimax, these 225, 250s, 200s, you know, Pro XS, Mercury Pro XS, man, very popular. It's been around a long time. You know, they called them the Opti Pops at first, so like from 2000 to, I don't know, 2002 or 3 or 4, I can't be for sure, but they had some problems and they would pop the power heads. But and that's why they called them Opti Pops. But since then, man, very reliable motor. And the problem, I guess a lot of people, like the mystery behind them is like a lot of things, man, you can't like do. You can't try to figure out what's wrong with them because like you almost need to hook up a computer to it and run diagnostics like we do on modern car engines. So, you know, it's something as simple as a coil, right? The old style engines had a coil and it provided, you know, basically power to the distributor. It's like a high tension, I guess. But with these guys, you know, you could control that spark. I guess maybe how hot it is or whatnot with the computer. You can control the timing. I mean, you know, anyway. So we had checked Chuck's boat, and he found that one of his coils was pretty low. And at first, you know, he checked them in like, I don't know, 4 of the 6 from basically the input or the ground of this coil. Here it is there. And the I guess they call this the tower. Anyway, this is where you hook up your spark plug. Was, you know, it's like 14 meg or something. We weren't sure how to test them, to be honest with you. They had different ones. They had a 4-pin. And then, like, on these Optimaxes, we got a 5-pin. So I'm guessing this was, like, first on the EFI motors. I'm not, you know, the thing is, like, I'm learning, too, as I go. I don't have the software program. Maybe I'll get that soon. I would like to have it so that like some of the other motors that are in this range now, you know, we can work on them. But So what do we do? We got a miss. We know it's a miss. So what is it? Is it fuel? Is it spark? What is it? Is it compression? When he bought the boat, he got compression numbers, and they were all great. They were all like even, but it's acted like it wasn't getting spark. So this one he's got marked as bad, and then we have a known good coil because he bought a couple of coils. So, and we'll see this as revision B, and it's got a number, 883778. And this one, he has it written over here what it is, but this one also says revision B 883778. The problem with this bad one is it's really not bad. It's just one of the legs is out of range. So with the computer software program, first of all, you can check these coils. You can see what all the resistance values is with it, and it'll tell you if the coil is bad or good or whatever. But there is a way to check these. In the manual, it tells you how to check these. And so what we have is we have a CDM testing for 5-pin units, 75 to 250 horsepower models. So you're going to have a meter, some kind of meter. Like I got this one. And maybe I'm move this over just a hair. So we got this meter. Okay. So we got a red meter lead, and I have just a little bitty red. Now you could try to touch the pins, and it's kind of difficult. So I just have these little jumper wires, and they've got these little plastic sheets, so I can really get it down there and not have any of the pins touch. But one end of this, we're just going to put on our red meter lead. Now this one's got, I like this Klein. It's a great multimeter. You can get it at Home Depot. I think, I don't know if you can get it at Lowe's, but Home Depot has it. So we're just going to pop off a little plastic keeper, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to take this, and down inside here, this would be A. So A, B, C, D, E. So what we want to do is take we're going to have this lead, and then we're going to have another lead. And that lead is going to go, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this to our black meter lead. And take our little plastic keeper off. So we got this, like so. Now, we want to make sure it's working. So test our test equipment. We're going to put it on continuity. And now we're going to take these two leads and make sure that we got continuity. We do. Alright, so then if you're looking at our chart over here, again, we've got red meter lead, black meter lead. So then on the right over here, it shows you pin A, B, C, D, E. And then up here at the top, it's got pin A, B, C, D, E. That's your 5 pins. So to test this, this has secondary power listed also, and I'm assuming that this is the secondary of the coil, which would be here. But we're going to go pin A, and then to the tower we're not going to have any continuity. You're not going to test pin A to pin A. That's crazy. But you're going to test pin A to pin B. So all you're going to do is take your red meter lead, and you're gonna try to stick it on this, your first pin, and I'm sure we're gonna get a shadow or something, because it's gonna be kind of hard for me to do, but maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm just gonna reach in there and get on that pin A, and then if I can, because I don't want it to touch and I don't want to bend the pins, so I'm just going to kind of do that, and then I'm going to take my black mirror lead, and it says a range right here, 8500 to 12,000, or 8K to 12K, but we need to put that on that B lead. And then we're going to come over here, and we're sitting at about 9K ohms. Okay, so far we're in range, and then C then is going to be this next pin, and we shouldn't get any continuity, which we don't. So then we're going to go over to pin D, and we should be 29K to 39K. We're going to put it on like a 20K scale or something so we can read it. But we're sitting at 15K. So right away we can see that this is a bad coil because we're out of range here. And one of the things that my brother pointed out is it does say in the manual that this range is can be affected by temperature. So this CDM, what we got going on, and just to show you, might as well go to this E, and we're 1344. We're in the range here, but not here. What's happening, or what, I don't know. This is kind of like, it's sort of like a mystery. Like I said, if you hook up a computer to this, you can say, hey, okay, this is a bad coil or not a, anyway. But you can imagine we got to test every pin, and then if we look at this, these values down here change somewhat. So we're checking from D, red mirror lead on D to pin A, then it's 2 to 3K, and then if we're on pin D, red lead to pin B, then we're, so I swapped them. So then 31K to 41K. So you got to check all these pins, and then on top of that, you have to check 6 of these coils. Now the real down and dirty way to do this is just so you can at least get an idea. Is you could go out to your motor and you could pull, these coils so they're not sparking, and then put them back on. I don't like that method because, like, really, you have high tension spark. You have spark open in the air, so you could cause a spark. It's better to pull from here if you can, because then this coil can't fire. And what I mean is, like, you're listening at the engine, so if you hear it drop, you hear a different tone, right away. Like, but if you unplug this and you don't hear any difference in the tone, then you probably have a bad coil, or it's not firing. And there's other things involved too. We got to make sure that the computer is sending its information to this coil. So the best way to start out, if you're just trying to do basic troubleshooting and you don't have a computer, this is what you can do. You pull each one, and if you hear a change in tone in the engine, and you plug it back up and then it comes back, you know that's working. If there's no change in the engine whatsoever, the tone of the engine, then you know you got, you know, a bad coil. Now that's coil side, because on our next little rabbit hole that we're going to look at is our fuel supply. We know we got good pressure, but the one thing we don't know is if, you know, one of our fuel injectors have failed, or if it's just kind of clogged, or we have a leaky fuel injector. That's another thing. So if it's kind of leaking, they'll run really weird. But what this is, just so we can, yeah, you guys want to take a picture of this, I'll kind of lift it up, but what this is, you know, these EFI motors, they had to go because of EPA, whatnot. And then the more that they built these motors, originally in the old days, there's an old power pack, which is just toast, man. Got really hot, which we don't like to see that. But what it is in the old days, they had a stator and a trigger, and they would go to this power pack, and the power pack would send the signal to the coil, and the coil just had a positive and negative, and it would turn the coil on, and it would send spark to the engine. It's, you know, through the spark plug to the spark plug, and we get fire. This here, so in the old, you know, you had this and you had a coil. They worked together. This told the coil when to fire. So they got rid of this and the coil pack, and then they put it all into this. And so now the computer can control this coil. It just made everything a lot smaller. You know, we've got a heat sink here. This is still a capacitor discharge, just like this. This was a capacitor discharge. So, you know, like you can imagine, like the signal was sent over to the power pack, and it would charge up the capacitor. As soon as the signal disappeared, then it would release. And it's the same situation where we have a capacitor that's being told by the computer when to release. So you have, I guess, we have a hot and a negative on 2 pins that are powering up the coil itself. And we have a ground, which it must be ground in the whole entire thing. And then we have a hot and a cold, which is, or I'm not sure, who knows, I have to really get into the diagram, but it's probably controlling this, you know, it's like a control, ground controlled, or I'm not sure, but it's probably telling this coil at what level or at what time to fire. So it charges it up, but then the ECM is telling it fire, 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 and then it fires. Anyway, that's the best that I can figure out so far, until I get a software program where I can look at that, and I'm working my way there, but those programs are pretty expensive, and I'm probably, right now I'm leaning towards the CDI, and it is a service that I can offer. So probably 2024 we're going to have and that's probably the most common. I wanted to talk to some other people and just see what they say. I'm sure Mercury has one, but I think only the dealers can purchase the Mercury one. I don't know this, and this is part of the mystery. I don't know yet, so we've been working on older motors for the last several years, and most of the people that bring me a motor is but old too. But then we're reaching this area where now these are all 25 years old, and people want to bring me, the EFI motors were, I don't know, mid 90s, and so that's where we are. Anyway, thanks for watching, subscribing, liking the videos, commenting, you name it, all that stuff. And if you need anything like fuel line and whatnot, hit me up on HawkeyeMarine.net.